Just let me know when you're good.
Think I'm good.
Okay, all right. We'll go ahead and kick it off. So yeah, Trey, I appreciate you making some time this morning.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Where are you located?
I'm in Georgia, sort of near the Alabama border.
Okay, all right. I've been to Georgia a bunch. I actually think Alabama is one of the few states in the U.S. Oh, there's a handful that I've never been to. I've never been there. But anytime I talk to somebody in the South, I'm immediately jealous that you probably have access to better barbecue, cornbread, and hush puppies than I do out here in the greater Seattle area. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's probably true. I'll admit I'm not a big barbecue fan though. I'm probably one of the only people I know that's not, but never really,
Okay.
really been my thing.
But you can find some in the area.
Yeah, oh yeah,
And you are a CPA by trade,
that's right.
and you're in business with your dad.
Yeah, started working with him right out of college, and over the years, the other partners in the firm slowly retired until two of us left.
Okay, I'm fascinated. Was that your idea to follow his footsteps? Did you have, what attracted you to the accounting world? And the reason that I ask, pardon me, is my father's lifelong occupation was he was an accountant. And
Mhm.
he always wanted me to take over the business, of which I had no interest, didn't do it, probably broke his heart. But you actually, when I read it, I'm like, ah, you did exactly what my dad was hoping that I did. So how did that materialize?
It really just sort of happened. It was never my intention. I was determined I wasn't going to do it.
Of course.
He he made me take an intro accounting class in college, just because he thought it'd be useful no matter what I was going to do. So I took that class. I liked it enough. I was good at it. So I said, okay, I'll major in this, but I'm going to go to law school. I'm going to be a tax attorney.
Hmm.
Our tax professor at that time was a tax attorney. I wanted to do what she did. I liked what she taught. I applied to law schools my senior year, got into the ones I wanted to go to, and the day it was time to commit, just didn't feel right. I've never been
No
able to
kidding.
say what didn't feel right, but I think part of it was the money. The student loans I was looking at were insane,
Hmm.
um, but just didn't feel right. So my dad had an opening when I graduated, and I said, okay, I'll give it a shot. Didn't really think I would do it forever, but it just sort of stuck.
And I'm sorry, maybe you said this before. How many years has it been now?
Uh, 13.
13. Okay. Man, not that you picked an easier profession, but like any lawyer that I've ever spoken to as to what they thought the occupation was going to be and then what it turned out to be, and I'm sure there's good points as well, but they would summarize it as if you choose law school, you are choosing to be a new lawyer to work 50 or 55 hours a week with the hopes of becoming partner so that you can work 70 hours a week. That's like, I don't know
Yeah,
if that's a
and
good
I heard
deal.
similar things.
But then again, you got tax season. I remember my father
Right.
going through tax season. He just was a ghost.
Yeah. Yeah, that first quarter of the year. This year we did better. I didn't have to work the hours quite as bad, but those last few weeks, usually up in the 80s.
It's just, and what makes it so brutal? Is it the volume of work that all has to get done at the same time? Is it knucklehead clients like me that don't get things in on time and need extensions? Like what is it? It just makes it, how I guess you can't prepare for it better. Like what's the deal?
It's a little bit of everything. It's a little bit of both of those. It's just too much to do in a short time frame. There is some of the we don't get information soon enough to give us time to spread it out, but there's no amount of spreading it out that's going to fix it either.
Uh-huh.
It's just you're doing what is really the bulk of your work for the year in the first quarter.
Wow. And then as soon as it's done, do you have just this monumental weight lifted off your chest?
Yeah, yeah. It's sort of the first week or two after you don't really know what to do with yourself because there's still work to do. There's extensions. We do audit work too, so we've got other stuff we've got to do as soon as it's over. But
Mm.
that first week, it's sort of okay. That pressure's gone. I don't know what to do now.
Are most of your clients individuals or businesses? What's your niche?
We do a little bit of everything. We're a smallish firm, so we've got to wear a lot of hats. One thing we do that we do a lot of that has sort of become our niche is nonprofit work.
Really?
So the audits that I mentioned, that's all nonprofit work. So we're doing financial statement audits for them now through the end of the year. That's whether they're applying for a grant, there's a government grant that requires an audit, something like that.
Okay, interesting. All right, well, very cool. Yeah, that's just a walk down memory lane for me again, since I said my
Mhm.
dad was an accountant as well. Man, crazy. And I'm sure the technology to make that job hopefully more efficient has advanced. I remember him just burning cigarettes and punching with an old calculator with the paper coming off the back of the calculator. But anyway.
We still use those. I've got one right here on the desk
Oh, do you
beside me.
really?
Yeah, we still like those.
Yep, I remember I could that sound is imprinted because he had a home office for a while, so when he was working at home, I could just hear that I mean just over and over again. It will never leave my brain. But all right, so you in some of the info you sent me beforehand, you said, that growing up unathletic and sports kind of weren't your thing, you had other interests, and the first time that it kind of popped onto your radar of like, I think I need to take my health and fitness or appearance or whatnot in a body composition in a different direction was during college or post college? What was that phase?
Right at the end of college, it was seeing pictures of myself from my college graduation.
Okay. And was it just a gain of weight that struck you or what?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
how tall are you?
I lean naturally thin anyway, but that last year of college I probably had gained 15 or 20 pounds.
Okay. How tall
Um,
are you?
I'm sorry,
How tall are you?
6'2".
15 to 20 pounds. I mean, 15 pounds or so on somebody that's 6'2", you could probably hide that.
Yeah, a lot I can. But at that time, I really had no muscle, so it was just noticeably that it was fat, and I gained weight in my face. As soon as I
Okay.
start to gain weight, my face changes fast.
And no, okay, so you see the phone, you're like, okay, full stop, this ain't cool. And
Mhm.
what's the first order of business? What do you try to do to fix that? Was it fitness? Was it nutrition? Was it something else?
It was both. I started with nutrition, and really at that point, all I knew was calorie counting.
Mm,
Apps weren't like they were because we're talking 2012.
yeah.
Aren't quite like they are now, but I found a meal tracker app that I followed. Knew nothing about, looking at protein, carbs, fats. It was just looking at the calories. So looking back on it, probably was eating the wrong things, just in
Hmm.
low enough volume to start losing weight.
I was gonna say, if you put yourself in a deficit, you put yourself in a deficit. I bet the scale moved if you actually did it.
It did, and probably moved a little too quickly. In retrospect, I know I had it restricted too much. I think I was eating like 1,200 calories a day
Oh,
for
wow. Okay.
several months.
Wow. Yeah. No wonder you lost weight.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, no kidding. And then you said in your email to me that at that time you decided to take up some running.
Yeah, I started walking. That transition to running using the Couch to 5K program.
I'd
Really
never
fell
heard
in
of that,
love
but that's
with
a great
that.
name for a running program.
Yeah, there's several of them out there, and they're all pretty good. That sometimes they start a little quick. If you're not running at all, they'll have you do like a minute interval. Minute's a
Hmm.
long time coming from nothing.
Yeah, amen to that. Yes, 100%. You're right. It's an eternity compared to nothing. But
But
then
they get you
so you're
from that
running.
minute interval to like a 30-minute run over an 8-week period.
Okay. Okay, but hey, you stick with it. You're actually following something. You're most certainly in a caloric deficit, so you're moving your body, the scale's moving. But then again, you got that pesky tax season that's going to interrupt you every now and then, huh?
Right. Yeah, and that's usually what'll happen to me is I'll be doing pretty good with something. Tax season will get here. I'll maybe keep it up until late February and then get to where if I'm awake, I feel like I need to work and then
Mm.
stop. And it's always one of those things that's amazing. You can work so hard for months and then month off, you feel like you're starting from scratch.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing how much, I mean, you're in a different situation with tax season, but if somebody has the opportunity to even do the smallest amount of maintenance that seems almost insignificant, but the other option is doing nothing, man, that smallest amount of maintenance is such a godsend. I mean, like it's a big, big, big deal. So you got that going on for a while. It's hit or miss. It's tough to stay consistent. And then you decide, you're gonna try something else. You said you get yourself a folding bench and some dumbbells. What was that phase?
So that was I got to the point I felt like I probably needed to do something to build some muscle because all I was at that point was thin.
Mm.
Um, I didn't really want to go to an actual gym. I knew I've always been a get up in the morning to work out. Um, I knew if I had to add 15 minutes each way to drive, it wasn't going to happen. I wasn't going to get up early enough.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I did not know what I was doing walking in there. I was sort of embarrassed to go in because I had never done anything with weights.
Okay, yeah,
Um,
fair enough.
so I picked those up and I did some of the Beachbody video courses, things like P90X. I mean, in a lot of ways, they work great.
I was gonna say, you're not the first person I've interviewed that found those and they did some good stuff.
Cardio wise, can't hardly beat it.
That's what I've
Um,
heard.
there's a plyometric day that is an hour of jumping in
Oh
different
my
forms. It is
goodness.
awful, but it worked.
I
But
believe
I
it.
just got thinner and thinner. There's no opportunity in it for adding weight, progressive overload with the weight.
Right.
It's just
You're
move
not
as
doing a
quick as you
five by
can.
five deadlift, but that's kind of not the point.
Right.
We're just burning it down every day.
Mhm. Right. That's
So was
exactly
it one of
it.
those? Was P90X the same as, did you say P90X or what'd you say?
Mhm. Yeah.
That the same as Insanity?
That one's a little different. I tried that one once and didn't like it. It's a lot of high quick cardio movements. I guess you call it a hit workout.
Okay.
But it is specifically just body weight, fast movement.
Okay. Okay. Well, does P90X have some loading? Does it have dumbbells or something in it?
It does. Most days other than that plyometric day, you do some sort of dumbbell loading, but even the speed that you're moving, you're probably never going much above 15 or 20 pounds. And
Okay,
then
gotcha.
they like pull-ups, a lot of pull-ups.
Okay. All right, but you're moving and you're in fast gear.
Right.
We got places to be.
Everything was 90 minutes and a lot to finish in that 90 minutes.
Okay, but hey, man, but there's a certain, I mean, that's a serious, first of all, 90 minutes of jumping to me sounds like a deal with the devil. I mean, I think, wow. So if you actually have the mental fortitude and grit to, with no external motivation, you're just looking at it on TV or your laptop or whatever it was, to grind that out, that's pretty impressive as far as I'm concerned, man.
Oh, thank you. It was not fun. They do at least break it up into 30-second blocks with rests. And one thing that was from that has stuck with me was the tagline, you can do anything for 30 seconds. They would
Mm,
repeat that over and over. And that has stuck with me through a lot of workouts. When I'm near the end, go 30 seconds. You can do anything still for 30 seconds.
okay, yeah, fair enough. So you did that for a while, and again, now at least you got, even if it's lighter dumbbells, you got some external loading in there, right? You're not just running and whatnot. But you said you saw that they were kind of there was no not no off ramp, but no progression
Right. You
there.
just
So
start
that
over at the beginning, at
you
the end of
start
the
over at the
90.
beginning. So that left you to once again start just searching for the next thing, huh?
Yeah, and I did several of the Beachbody programs over the years. They've got a
Okay.
massive online library at this point.
Okay. And are they
Um,
all kind of the same ilk, like, longer duration, fast moving with some dumbbells, or did the Beachbody really have something different going on compared to the P90X thing?
they've got a little bit of variation. They all sort of come down to the same theme of do it fast
Okay.
because their I think some of their focus is easy access. So
Sure.
there was one that I did that I think it was 4 days a week for 40 minutes. There was a play on the number four in the name
Hmm.
was some of the point. They do have some that are slower that are more weightlifting based, but you are
Okay.
still moving quick.
Gotcha. I'll tell you what, the when those things, I can't remember what year it was, but there was a time frame where you couldn't go anywhere without seeing something about P90X. Like it took over the world for
It was
a while. I mean, they were crushing it.
Mhm.
And hey, good on 'em. They got a lot of people off the couch and doing stuff.
Yeah, I mean it for what it is, it's great. It's if losing weight is the main focus, it's going to do it.
Oh yeah, I mean, just put a hamster on a wheel at gunpoint, tell it to run for an hour and a half. I mean,
Yeah. I think sometimes a 5K run is easier than what they had you do.
I believe that. I get 90 minutes of jumping. My goodness. So where did your interest lead you to, or what was next on your search for, the fitness journey here?
I then started to just look online for weightlifting plans because I wanted to focus more on weights.
Okay.
Um, that would be hit or miss. Usually I would find something, do it
Well,
for three,
because
four,
you
five
said at this
weeks.
time you got a house that actually allowed you to have a decent gym.
There was a little bit of time in between there,
Okay.
so I was
Okay.
still for a lot of these with the dumbbell and the
Gotcha.
folding bench, which that limited some of my options because every weightlifting plan you find online is barbell, barbell, barbell.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I would do some that were I would try and modify it, but it just never really stuck.
Mm-hmm.
I'd do something for 5 or 6 weeks, kind of get bored with it, move on, find another one, and that cycled for a while until I did move into this house that had a old exterior workshop the owners converted into an actual room that was perfect.
Perfect. And then you started accumulating.
Yeah, I started with a rack and a bar and plates, and I followed a plan that was from an Instagram fitness influencer, which
Okay.
um, is one of the it was one of those it looked great, but I think it's sort of the opposite of what you say with varied not random.
Uh-huh.
It was just sort of random feeling.
Gotcha.
Um
Okay.
Everything was it was fully weight focused. There was specifically instruction not to do any cardio work, just to do the weights that they told you to do. And
Hey,
it would
that's going
be
to appeal to a lot of people, by the way.
yeah.
You tell me I don't have to run, sign me up.
Mhm. But it was too complicated. So like there'd be a it was your stereotypical 5 day body part split.
Mhm.
And on like the chest day, you might do a bench press, then a dumbbell fly. Um, then you go to an incline dumbbell bench press. You'd probably do 6 different moves.
Hmm.
And but then the next week it would be a different six. And then the next
Gotcha.
week it would be a different six. And they released a new plan every 4 weeks. So
Oh.
it was too hard to progress with. I think if I had known more what I was doing,
Hmm.
could have done a little better with
Yeah.
it. But it
Interesting.
was just all over the place, too much to figure out.
Did it incorporate, was it just stuff like, dumbbell flies and some bench, or did it have movements like back squat and deadlift as well?
I don't remember deadlifting. I do remember back squatting a little with it.
Okay. Good.
Um,
All right.
Yeah, but the leg days tended to be more things like I'm trying to remember now. Now that I'm trying to think about it, I'm
Was it
drawing a
like a
blank.
leg extension or leg curl or not stuff that you wouldn't have that in your house?
Yeah, it was all geared to be able to be done at home.
Gotcha. Okay.
But it did want you to have a pulley system on your rack, which I didn't have.
Okay.
So I would do some of that with resistance bands, but it focused a lot on small isolation movements,
I
is
see.
probably the
Okay.
way to say it.
Gotcha. More kind of classic bodybuilding
Yeah.
style lifts. Okay. Good. Well, there's value there as well. Again, you're lifting stuff, you're doing something now the polar opposite of just running. You've gone the total, you hit the just running to the
Mm-hmm.
crazy insanity to now
Mm-hmm.
we're just lifting. So you're definitely covering some bases here. So you're covering a lot of
Yeah.
ground.
And the bad thing with this one was with no cardio. That one I started like October, November. So, and I did it a ways into the next tax season,
Okay.
but I lost any stamina that I had. I gained, I think, 25 pounds over that tax season.
Of
Um,
pure muscle.
No,
Joking.
not even close. Um, I don't think I gained much muscle at all from it,
Okay,
honestly.
right.
I think it was just too varied that I
Mm,
couldn't really progress with anything. I don't think I added weight, but maybe like twice in those 2 or 3 months because it was always so different.
interesting. Okay, fascinating. So you make it through some of tax season, and now your head comes back up above water. You can take a breath again, and you're looking for a new fitness adventure.
And I started searching, just sort of reading some Reddit threads on what to do.
Good old
Um,
Reddit, man.
you sometimes good advice, sometimes not so good. You never
Ah,
really know what you're
fully
going to
agree.
get.
Fully agree. You just never know. You're gonna find it all.
No, yeah, and so it started leading me to CrossFit, which I had the stereotypical person who's never tried it view that it's too extreme. I'm gonna hurt myself.
Sure.
Not what I want to do.
Yep. I mean,
Um,
understandable.
but there was a thread that was talking about CrossFit programs you could do at home. We do have a box here in our town. Really was not interested in going. I still wanted to stay at home.
Hmm.
And there were two programs that the thread was focusing on. One was Linchpin, and I sort of debated between the two for a while. Um, the the other was a little more. It felt more of the hardcore that I was trying to avoid in their branding.
Gotcha.
Their branding was intense
Okay.
and
All right.
really sort of turned me off a little bit. So the 30-day free trial that you offer also sort of locked it in because it let me join. I knew I wasn't going to start right away because I think this was like the day after tax season ended. I didn't want to
Mm,
do it yet. But it let me get logged in, check it out, and see if a week later this was something I was going to want to do.
fair enough. Yeah. I mean, that's exactly the whole point of a free trial, right? I mean, check it out on, don't believe what you read or see. Check it out.
Mhm.
So you wind up giving it a shot, and were you giving Lynchpin solely a shot at that point in time, or you dipping your toe in a couple different ponds to see which one you like the best?
It was just linchpin at that moment. I was ready to do something different. I was bored with everything I had done lately.
Okay.
So that was sort of my all in at that moment.
So you start the free trial,
Mhm.
and there's stuff I want to ask you about, but this just popped into my head right now. Where did you fall on the spectrum of I've got this to I'm totally overwhelmed? Because based upon you said of just running, doing P90X, and maybe some classic isolation bodybuilding stuff, now all of a sudden we're talking double unders, thrusters, power cleans, overhead squats. This idiot wants me to walk on my hands. Well, I'm gonna do ring dips. Like what now? This is a totally different world. So, what was that like?
I was probably closer to that side of overwhelmed with it. I can remember the first few weeks watching the daily videos going, I'm gonna die. There is no way I'm gonna be able to do this. I am going to die doing this. Um, at some point I quit saying that. My wife pointed out to me I don't comment on the workout anymore. I'm gonna die tomorrow.
That's
Um,
amazing.
but I don't remember when that stopped. But it was definitely a different feel because I remember the first one that I did, which I repeated about a month ago, was 400-meter run, jump ropes, and farmer's carry.
Mm-hmm.
Other than the run, I don't think I had ever done either.
Right, fair, yeah. Yeah.
And it I was out of breath. I was sweating. I was miserable after it, and I was ready to come back the next day. It just, I worked out a lot just sort of out of obligation that I felt like I needed to, but I never did found something other than running that I thought was fun.
Okay.
Um, but that first workout was fun.
Oh, that's cool. A nice mixture of my life is in danger and this is enjoyable.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a good
Probably a
tightrope
little bit of the
walk.
same runner's high effect was happening.
Yeah, I can understand that. But I'm curious, like, because there is so many new things to learn. Are you just not the sort that gets well, I guess are you a self-starter and you just kind of figured it out? Or how did you navigate all these new movements?
Um, a lot of YouTube videos, if
Okay.
there was one that I couldn't figure out. Um,
Good for you.
the videos that are in the daily workouts helped a lot. Most of the time I was good with just those. The Olympic lifts took a little more. I've watched a lot of videos
Yeah,
practicing those. They're still some of them are better than others,
we're
but
all a work in progress on them.
it's getting better.
So, what does it's sometime the 30-day free trial is going to come to an end. Was it right up to the wire that you're like, we'll see, or at some point in time you're like, this is different in a good way and I'm going to stay? Like, what was it that kind of, I guess, made you stay past that 30 days?
I, I don't know if I really remember that it was so much of a conscious decision. I think by a weekend I was hooked.
Hmm. But based upon your previous history, there was a good chance that 2 months later you'd be somewhere else.
Yeah, there was.
Hopping somewhere else.
There was a really good chance by mid late summer I would have been doing something different.
So what in the world made you stay?
I think it was a few things. One, I felt better.
That's good. Good.
Less tired. I felt stronger than I probably ever had. Um, Thing day to day just felt easier. Um, The other really was probably the Facebook community. I am not a social media person. I don't post anything. I'll go on and stalk, I'll see what people are doing. But I don't think I've posted on my personal Facebook page in 2 or 3 years.
Right. Me neither,
Um,
by the way.
hmm?
Me neither, by the way.
Yeah, it's just never really been my thing. But I remember I posted something in the Facebook group the first time, Memorial Day. I did the scaled version of Murph,
Hmm.
which
Which, congratulations, by the way. I mean,
well,
I
thank you.
don't care if it's the scale version, like any version of Murph is a beast.
And I can say without a doubt that was the hardest physical thing I had ever done at that point.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Um, and I hesitated on posting it because the there are results in that Facebook group that are insane that I can't believe people can do.
Right?
And I'm like, no one wants to see my slow attempt at doing this scaled. Um, but I was excited that I actually did it. So I posted it, and the supportiveness of that group really caught me off guard.
Mm.
And I
We
think that's really what has gotten me to stick all the way through.
we do. I think people think that I'm lying, but we really do have a special group of people uh, in Linchpin. I don't know how. We got some good folks in there.
Really do. And it's really cool how I mean people will come and go as life changes, and no matter who comes and goes, it really doesn't change.
Hmm. It's funny. It's also cool to see because I'm also very open about this as well. I did a series like specifically on program hoppers depending upon if Lynchman's the first, second, third, or seventh thing that you've tried, especially if it's the first, there can be well, this is all I know, the grass is greener, so people will go check something else out, and it's always cool to see those folks come back and they're like, hey, everybody, it's been 6 months. Um, I'm back home. The grass is now greener. Missed you guys. And it's like that always kind of warms my heart that we do have a good group of a good group of people there. And so what is Murph looking like for you this year from that first attempt that you did scaled?
It'll probably I won't wear a weight vest. I cannot do pull-ups with a weight vest yet, but I will
Fair
probably do the
enough.
full volume.
Oh, good
Um,
for you.
the my knees may come down for the push-ups at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the pull-ups will get ugly. I know they will get ugly,
Right.
but I feel confident that I can do the full volume at this point.
Good for you. I mean, that is no small feat. I mean, Murph is a challenging workout, full Cindy and a couple miles of running. I mean, that's no joke. And that time of year, I got to think there's probably just a pinch of humidity where you live, depending upon when you do
Oh
it.
yeah. Oh yeah, it's already here. Today's been pretty rough. So in a couple weeks, I'll probably be doing this early in the morning.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I've lived a couple different places in the US and lived for about 11 years in Virginia Beach. And
Mhm.
that dirty South humidity, man. I've lived at
It is
elevation, I've lived
miserable.
at sea level, and I've lived in humidity, and I think it's tougher to work out in like summer south humidity than elevation. Like it's nasty.
It's miserable. If anything outside at this point in the year, I'm going to do it 5:30 or 6 in the morning,
Hmm.
just because it's still like soup, but at least it's 65 degrees or 70 degrees and not 95.
Just constantly having like the chalk on your hands turn to like paste because your sweat's going
Mhm.
down there when you grab the
Yeah.
barbell. I remember all that stuff.
I walked my dog last night at about 9:30 and it was like being outside in a swimming pool. It was so hot and humid.
Oh my God, it'd be a good business to be down there to run an air conditioning company. They keep you in business
Oh yeah.
pretty well.
I think they do well here.
Yeah. So you've got you got a fantastic fitness journey. You get yourself set up here for Murph once again. Tax season is behind us more or less
Mhm.
as we record this. Life's looking pretty good. And I guess just to catch us up as well, you said you're some other big events recently married.
Yeah, got married last May.
Congratulations,
Thank
man.
you.
That's awesome. And soon to be a new addition to the family.
Yeah, we're having our first baby next month.
Oh, wow. That's exciting. That's incredibly exciting. And you said you know that it's going to be a little girl.
Yeah, we're gonna have a girl.
Oh man, I'm so happy for you, my friend. That's gonna be great. And it'll just be, life throwing a monkey wrench into your already busy schedule. A wonderful monkey wrench, a wonderful
Yeah.
one, but a monkey wrench into your schedule nonetheless. And I'm sure you'll be executing on some of the things that hopefully you've learned over the last couple of years of just fitting in little things to do whenever you get the time. And it doesn't have to be a perfect workout, doesn't have just whatever, just try to just keep that maintenance going.
Yeah, that's the goal. I'm gonna be looking for when we have a little bit of downtime just to get myself moving.
Oh, that's exciting. But then you'll have that little person just watching you, seeing how you eat, seeing how you move, eventually when they get to a certain age, following you into the gym and like there's going to be some cool stuff ahead. My daughter next month will be 4, which we've got 3 kids, a 15-year-old boy, a 13-year-old boy, and my daughter's about to be 4. I can't believe that she's about to be 4. And out of all of them, our older 2 kids are athletes. They play their sports, but they don't have any real interest in working out in the garage, like none at all. They just do their sports and that's that. But my daughter, since the day that she was born, has been heading out there with me. And so now she'll go out and she knows the word, deadlifts and pull-ups and burpees and squats and and she says she wants to do workouts with me. She's got a teeny little kettlebell. So I think you got some fun stuff ahead of you.
Yeah, that I'm looking forward to that kind of thing. That's the kind of thing that really gets me excited.
I mean, and just think about, when you hit issues in life that you didn't, it sounds like maybe you're similar to me. I don't want to cast myself onto you, but we only knew what we knew back then, where there's pre-internet times and whatnot, and we thought fat was bad, and the zero fat diet was the way to go, and skim milk was amazing, and all this stuff, and now everything that you've learned about strength and conditioning, you've learned about how you should eat, you've learned about all this stuff. Like you're gonna have somebody that if they have questions, like you're gonna be such a better resource of information than it sounds like either one of us had.
Yeah, it really is amazing how much more information we can get than we used to be able to. Even just thinking about when I started running right out of college, I mean, that was 2012. We had internet, we had resources, but it is so different.
A world of different. Well, man, I guess maybe I'll just end with what's the best way to pay the government the least amount of money in your taxes? I'm just joking. What's your what's your recommendation to individuals like yourself that have maybe some really tough, busy seasons of life, and just to try to keep your sanity and stay consistent? What's been your lessons learned?
Um, I think that one of the biggest ones for me is make the priority and do if you don't have time, do the minimum that you can. Do something, even if that is just a 30-minute walk. If that's all the brain power that you've
100%.
got, do it. Um, I remember I read something one time that said if you don't want to work out, um, get into the gym anyway. Give yourself 10 minutes. If after 10 minutes you still don't want to do it, you can quit. I try and remember that one because by the time you get to 10 minutes, you never want to quit. You're in it and you're
Hmm.
good. Um,
I like that one.
yeah, it helps me a lot of mornings at 5:30 when I don't want to get out of bed and walk in there.
Yeah, just
But
start some.
just make it the priority. I can't say how many times I've been stressed that going in the gym and just blowing off steam for 30 minutes has cleared my head in a way that nothing else could have.
Amen to that. Fully agree. Well, Trey, man, I appreciate it, brother. I appreciate you being a part of Linchpin, sharing your story, and I'm happy for you with the new marriage, and I'm over the moon for you for a little daughter coming. So I wish you and your new family the absolute best.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for having me today.
Of course, man, and I will see you online in the Facebook group.
Sounds good.